Donald Trump don't understand the difference between sex identity and gender identity. So basically, there is a way to, you know, do these things. The way is that first he need to understand the difference between sex and gender identity, and there are also intersex persons. They are born as intersex. It's not that consciously they decide to become an intersex. So your sex identity cannot be defined, determined. I mean, uh, yeah, you don't self-determine your sex identity, whereas you self-determine your gender identity. So Trump has banned transgender persons to participate or compete in female category. Uh, that is kind of okay, but transgender persons do need to play sports, and so they should be allowed. And there are also intersex female, they cannot be considered as transgender person. Then that there is a problem. See, a lot of transgender persons whom we see, a lot of trans women whom we see outside there, or trans men, especially trans women, or the people who are established as male at birth and they live as women. Just because they dress themselves as women and live as women, it doesn't mean that they are a biological female. So we also have trans men who are biologically female and they live as a man. Just because they live as man, dress themselves as man, it doesn't mean they are biologically a male. So Trump can end this particular thing, whereas he cannot get into the nuances of sex identity itself, because the very kind of the religious fundamentalist view there, because it's a white Christian America, and their hegemony is that, and they believe only Adam and Eve God created. God did not created intersex people. There is nothing in between Adam and Eve. Whereas we are coming from a civilization and tradition where we believe and we also live by it. You see all this Bahuchara Mata temple in Gujarat, or Kutandava temple in Vilupuram in Tamil Nadu, or Ellamma temple in Andhra, and Jogapas who are from the Karnataka. So we have native indigenous, identities, gender identity expression, and all those things. Even in the Constitution of India, we don't have the term gender. We only have the term sex identity. The problem is that uh, now the West, especially the term gender, was promoted by a German social scientist, and especially US popularized it. The US academicians popularized it, and sadly they can't teach their own politician, president of United States, the difference between sex and gender identity. What is the difference? These infants, when they are born, they are um, uh, how you classify them as male and female based on the reproductive system. So here are a group of infants with their reproductive system. You can't classify them as male or female. They will, they are neither born with, a male-like reproductive system or a female-like reproductive system. They are born with either hello.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You can continue. Yeah.
So the thing is, here we need to what we need to understand is that uh, Trump is wrongly identifying intersex as a transgender person, and also normalizing procedures of intersex infants and children. When such infants are born with ambiguous genitals, or when you can't classify them or fit them into male female category on the day when they're born, within a month or within that week or month, they operate that infant. They are the doctors artificially make that infant to look like male. That is happening throughout around the globe, everywhere. And this system was introduced in US. The sex normalizing surgeries or sex selective surgery. These medical procedures were introduced in US just to keep male and female are the only sex in the society. There is nothing called intersex. But for
Okay.
us, we always accommodated intersex. Even in Mahabharata and all, we see this characters like Shikandi and all. But also, we don't know our courts don't know the difference between sex and gender. So definitely, transgender women cannot participate under female category, but they should be also allowed to play, and there should be a separate category for them. International Olympic Committee is dealing with that, and IAAF and all other bodies are also working on that. Whereas intersex persons are not transgender persons. When you see Shanti Soundarajan or Caster Samania, or recently, Eminem Cliff or this Taiwanese, athlete, all these people are not transgender. They were established as female at birth. They were living as female, and just because they have a different chromosomal pattern, or they produce some sort of testosterone, I mean, like excessive testosterone in their body, may or may be, but just because of that we can't deny their rights, and we can't say that, oh, these people are not female. Shanti is a female, Caster is a female. You remember what Caster Samania's mother, who is one of the fastest female athlete in the world, her mother told BBC at the time, the media at the time, that uh, Caster was born as female. I gave birth to her, and she was raised as female, and we always treated her as one, as a female. And who are these people to dispute it? A parent is saying that. So basically, whatever Trump is doing for transgender persons, it is out of transphobia, but indirectly it will also affect the intersex community. Why? Because intersex person can live as a male or a female, or even they can identify themselves as a trans person too. But not all transgender persons are intersex, because you need to understand transgender is a gender identity, whereas this gender identity whole of the spectrum is only for human beings, whereas sex identity is more about biology. We don't decide to be born in male sex or female sex or intersex identity and all that, right? So whatever Trump is doing, it will also harm those intersex persons who are identifying themselves as trans and who want to compete and female sports. That will also affect them. um, Basically, sports itself, when you see the Olympics or all this, it is group of men who are coming up with all this, and then playing naked on the ground, and like they never allowed women, and it took several years, and then a very neo modern, contemporary Olympics is not the actual Olympics which took place earlier. So it is Olympics itself is more like a male game, a male dominated one. And now the contemporary, like we see female participating, but there are a lot of issues within that. And uh, also sex verification test, female undergo that in a more pathetic way, in a more inhuman way than a male. Advantages becomes questionable. We question the biological advantages of a female athlete, not a male athlete. We never did that to Rafael Nadal or Usain Bolt, or you name elite male athletes. All of them are with their own biological advantages. Michael Phelps to everyone. So that's the thing.